NASDAQ, the best performing index today, now less than 1% from its all-time high. Nvidia, big driver, getting very close to a new record as well. Seema Modi joins us at the desk with more on this. Just plowing straight forward.
This record run. And I think it brings up this question of, from on Wall Street, how long can Nvidia's dominance last when it comes to AI chips? And the marketplace, as we know, is only getting increasingly more competitive. Here's what Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang told Altimeter Capital's Brad Gerstner on his podcast yesterday.
To me, when I think about a computer, I'm not thinking about that chip.
Right.
I'm thinking about this thing. That's my mental model, and all the software and all the orchestration, all the machinery that's inside. That's my computer.
Right.
And we're trying to build a new one every year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Insane.
Nobody has ever done that before.
Right.
We're trying to build a brand new one every single year, and every single year we deliver 2 or 3 times more performance. Mm-hmm. As a result, every single year we reduce the cost by 2 or 3 times.
Huang also dismissed the idea of Nvidia being the next Cisco, which was at a similar position in the late 1990s and famously lost market share. He also said that computing tools, the need to curate more data, all underscore the important role Nvidia is playing. And he does not think AI will eliminate jobs. He looked at Nvidia, for example, which employs 32,000 employees with plans to get to 50,000 with 100 million AI assistants, which he says will increase the company's overall output. He also praised Elon Musk for the speed at which he's building a supercomputer in the span of 19 days, which he says typically takes about 3 years to plan, guys.
100 million AI assistants for the what? For the 50,000 employees that he expects?
Exactly. He's growing. He's looking to hire more people, go from 32,000 to 50,000, but coinciding with that, building out these AI assistants, which will help them run these models and launch AI applications.
Can they keep up that pace of a new offering every year? Is that sustainable?
That's the big question, right? With Blackwell, we are seeing those delays. Of course, we'll be getting earnings in November to get a better picture on the timeline and how much revenue they expect next year. But that's the timeline, is every year a new product that will be faster, cheaper, and better than some of the other alternatives. That's significant, especially when you think about Google, Meta, Amazon, all working on their own in-house chips as well.
All right. Thanks very much, Seema. Good to see you. Nice to have you here.
If you've been keeping even a casual eye on the stock market, chances are Nvidia Corp has popped up on your radar. It's not often that a company captures the market's attention with such vigor and verve, seeing its stock shoot up by an astounding 179.86% just this year alone. At the heart of this meteoric rise is Nvidia's colossal influence in the AI chip sector, a domain it's been dominating with unyielding prowess. And while Tesla's robotaxi event might have been the headline act last summer, it seems Nvidia was the real showstopper. Gene Munster, co-founder of Deepwater Asset Management, couldn't help but draw attention away from Musk & Co. to Nvidia's promising trajectory. According to Munster, the AI chip juggernaut is merely warming up. But what's fueling this optimism? And could Nvidia maintain its blistering pace in the coming months? Let's delve into the numbers and decisions that have propelled Nvidia to the top and explore what's in the cards for this high-flying stock. Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
That was Nvidia's CEO, Jensen Huang, making a surprise visit to the squawk set last Friday. That stock has been on a powerful run over the last year. It's up nearly 200%. Its market cap topping $3.3 trillion. Joining us right now with more on Nvidia's bull run is Ben Reitzes. He is Melius Research, head of technology research. Ben, you say that when you reiterate your buy rating on this, you get a lot of eye rolls. What do you tell the skeptics who are doubters?
Well, this is like when Apple did the iPhone, and if you gave up on Apple in year 2 or 3 of the iPhone, you missed a lot. So this is really in the beginning. And what people, really are skeptical about is the size. And they're already a huge market cap here, but there's still room to go. And obviously, Jensen running around New York meeting investors all over the East Coast, he's got a lot of good things to say. I think that you should listen to him.
Nvidia, you actually say, is your second cheapest stock in your group. How do you look at it on a PE basis?
Well, I look at PE to growth, and there's a ton of upside next year to our growth estimate, and revenues of 40%, but there's upside there, and there's probably not as much upside in any other stock. So I think it's trading at about 1 times PE to growth for next year. And that's really attractive for a name like this, as long as the numbers are there. And, if obviously if the direction is upwards to the estimates, that's really attractive still. And I think that each day you got to walk in and say, what are our checks showing us? What is the research showing us from the bottoms up? And it's still there.
Demand for Blackwell, what are you seeing in your channel checks at that point?
It's pretty huge. What the big issue was whether they could get the production up and running and get through their mask issue, and they seem to have done that. And whether they can get through the negative mix shift of scaling a new product, and I think they're going to do that pretty well within a couple quarters. And the demand looks really insane, like you said. These big clouds, you got to understand, these are huge capitalized companies, and if they're going to beat their cloud numbers that they're going to show the street, meaning Microsoft, Google, Amazon, they got to buy Blackwell, and they got to get the customers up and running, or else they're not going to beat numbers. And that's it. That's how you get the sequential acceleration to their cloud business. The companies will say a lot of different things that, it's because of how great they are in cloud, but really it's because investors run to their platform to use the latest and greatest from NVIDIA. And that's how they're going to beat, and they're going to buy a ton. And pretty excited.
What about their gross margins? There has been some concern recently about whether they could keep up the gross margins or whether they're continue to drop a little. And this is, again, from very high levels.
Yeah, I mean, that was our main concern as well. And whenever you launch a new product, and make changes to it, you have to you even write off some older inventory or inventory that's no longer useful. They had a larger write-off than usual last quarter, but we think that's going to get less and less as we go through. And what we're seeing is them moving past that gross margin issue. So what should happen is gross margins go down a little bit for a quarter or two and then turn. We see gross margins in the mid-70s, which can power close to $5 in earnings power, that they can demonstrate over the next 4 to 6 quarters.
The stock was down about 2% in the calendar third quarter. What about the fourth quarter? What makes you think that this is going to be the time that things really turn around?
Well, I think that the street this time, so last year as well, third quarter is a tough time for semis anyway. And for NVIDIA, they tend to do the market tends to really hype things up in the first half and then digest it in the second half. And this year, a lot like last year, what happens around this time is folks start to say, yeah, I know next year is great, but what about the year after, meaning 26? And I think the street this year is going to discount a little quicker that things are okay. They have that huge show in March called GTC, and we think they'll unveil the Rubin chip for 2026 there. They've already talked about it, but we'll hear more about it. And then you'll realize, oh yeah, 2026 is a growth year, and it's a pretty big one. And the market probably discounts that a little sooner than they did last year because Jensen is obviously gaining more and more credibility, which is obvious.
NVIDIA has found itself at the heart of a revolutionary transformation in technology. Its involvement in AI has not just been a talking point, but a creation of tangible value that echoes through the market. Munster's enthusiasm is more than a dart thrown at a bullish dartboard. It's anchored in the very fabric of NVIDIA's success, AI chips. Much like attending a family dinner with Warren Buffett, listening to Munster talk about NVIDIA gives one an appetite for success. With the stock's technical indicators glowing like a green traffic light on Christmas Eve, the data suggests a promising journey ahead. From Gene Munster's perspective, NVIDIA's ongoing trajectory isn't a fairy tale, but a carefully choreographed dance of technological advancement, demand, and strategic positioning. The company's stock, currently trading at $134.26, leaps over its moving averages with the grace of a ballerina. It stays well above its 5, 20, and 50-day exponential moving averages. These patterns shout bullish momentum to the avid investor, declaring, "Keep watching, keep believing." Humor me for a moment. If stock tickers were guests at a party, NVIDIA's bullish indicators would be the life of it, drawing animated conversations from those watching closely. The MACD at 4.26 further signals that NVIDIA may still have some impressive moves left in its repertoire, akin to that dance floor wonder with boundless energy. Diving deeper, NVIDIA plays a critical role in propelling the AI wave that's sweeping across industries. The world, is on an AI journey, and Nvidia is its trusted guide, armed with potent technology that supports cutting-edge AI applications. Companies are rapidly weaving AI into their very fabric, and Nvidia provides the essential threads. Investors catch their breath in moments of introspection when production issues arise, as was the case with Nvidia's anticipated Blackwell chips. The market briefly trembles at these moments like a suspense film reaching its climax. Fortunately, Nvidia reassures its audience, "We've got this," and promises that the delay to Q4 is just a plot twist rather than an ill-fated end. But before we go any further, if you want to keep up with Nvidia's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates.
Nvidia also setting a record closing high today, up 2.5%, as hype around the company's AI chip demand continues to soar. Other names in the space also rallying, like ARM Holding, Marvell, ASML. Joining us now is Bernstein senior analyst Stacey Rasgon. Stacey, of course, we're going to ask you yet again a question about Nvidia here, but trading at record highs. Comments from Jensen Huang, the CEO, over the weekend about the strength of the moat, specifically where inferencing and software is concerned. I'd imagine you still got a buy on this name, right?
Sure do. I think I've said this before. I think at this point you still have to be there. Demand is off the charts. Numbers are going up. I think that's pretty clear. And then when you got Jensen, I think on your channel, talking about insane demand, I mean, they're going to be selling everything that they can make. Yeah, I think you have to be there.
Okay. We've also got more proxies into, or bellwethers, I should say, into this AI semi-read when we get ASML and Taiwan Semi earnings later this week. How much do those matter here?
I think they'll matter. I mean, although I don't anticipate anything on the AI side as being unusual. The other proxies everybody watches for is like when the hyperscalers report the CapEx outlooks and those sorts of things. So just general signs that demand is strong and that customers are continuing to adopt. And again, everything we can see, at least at this point, suggests that's still a clear runway. It's clearly still happening.
Stacey, anything catch your eye about the difference in the trajectories of AMD and Nvidia just over the last few sessions? We just had Lisa Su on last week after we had Jensen on overtime the week before. And really, Nvidia has continued to surge since his insane demand comment. But really, it was kind of a sell the news-ish reaction to AMD's news.
So AMD had their event last week, and they announced their next generation part. It's called the MI325. It's basically the MI300 with more memory, which is fine. And they showed some benchmarks on it versus NVIDIA's what they call their Hopper, their H100 part, their current version. And AMD was sort of suggesting it was superior. And you always have to be a little careful with those self-reported benchmarks, but fine. The issue, though, is that Hopper was introduced, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, and you got Blackwell, which is NVIDIA's next generation part, which is coming imminently. And I mean, it's going to blow the doors off of anything that's out there. And by the time by the time that AMD has something out that you could even argue was even partially competitive with Blackwell, which is the MI350, it's probably the end of next year. Like by then, we'll all be getting ready for NVIDIA's next generation part. Long story short, the gap between when NVIDIA is introducing capabilities, when AMD is introducing them, it's still pretty wide. It's at least a year, maybe longer. And that's just on the chip side. That ignores everything else around software and systems and ecosystem and everything else that you need to get broad adoption. And so I think that's why you saw the sell the news with the AMD event. It wasn't like it was a bad event. It was fine. It was good. It's good that they're putting it up, but compared to what they're fighting against, it's tough. Like it's NVIDIA's game to lose at this point. They're not showing any signs of losing it.
Now, at the same time, Nvidia is trading, more than 10 times the market cap of an AMD. So, if AMD does pretty well, I wonder when's the last time we saw a moment like this where so many of the chip players are making more of a platform argument up front. You really have to think more about software. You have to think more about these systems. Lisa Su, AMD just made this acquisition, intending to make this acquisition of ZT in that direction. You can't just think about what are the performance metrics on this newest chip, right?
And that's absolutely true. It's not like anybody can sort of cherry pick specific examples where you're better or worse than anybody else. But it really does come down to ecosystem and adoption. And again, like you can given the capabilities that NVIDIA has put in place, I mean, you can buy their stuff and you're up and running in days. And with a lot of their competitors' stuff, it could be weeks or months to get everything up and running properly. And like, time is money in this industry. So it absolutely matters. And you asked like whether other companies have like talked about this. I'd say software and ecosystem have been increasingly important pieces of semiconductor sales for a long, long time. And I mean, everybody sort of looked back at the days with Intel and Microsoft. They formed what was called the Wintel ecosystem that was pretty dominant in its days for a long time. It's starting to crack now, but these sorts of things, once they get established, they can last for a long, long time. And today the ecosystem of choice is NVIDIA. So everybody else is trying to push into there.
You're talking about Wintel like it's a civil war, making me feel like I got some miles on me. Stacey Raskin, thank you.
NVIDIA's commitment extends beyond chips. Its ambitions to be a full-service data center provider manifest through Spectrum X. With a promise to ease the shift from dated networking technologies, it's not just offering solutions, it's revolutionizing infrastructure. This next-generation platform stands testament to NVIDIA's vision to harmonize AI's demands with practical, modern-day data center realities. With statements from CFO Colette Kress underscoring a surge in sales and broad market support, Spectrum X shows staggering growth potential. Beyond just the numbers and technology, the heart of NVIDIA's narrative resonates with resilience and adaptability. Whether it is designing comprehensive AI solutions or delving into automotive industry advancements with AI-driven infotainment systems, NVIDIA's roadmap projects a relentless pursuit of innovation packed with promise and opportunity. Dissecting this narrative with finance lenses, NVIDIA's stock carries a premium. At a P/E ratio of 56.07, it may appear costly at first glance. But within lies a story of growth and future potential, calculated at a forward P/E of 34.2. Investors find solace in these figures, interpreting them not as barriers, but as gateways to potential laden with promise. As the gripping chronicle of NVIDIA unfolds, one must wonder, is the next chapter filled with accolades, or are there still dragons to slay? With new technologies and emerging market requirements, the stage is set for continued exploration and challenge navigation. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Look, NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, CEO, was very funny about the last quarter, called it the biggest miss ever. You know, making a joke because obviously there were a lot of people who thought the last quarter was a miss. There was a yield problem. It was hard to make Blackwell. Well, now Blackwell is scaling, and Blackwell ingests video, and video, not just words. That's going to be the breakout, the next frontier. And I think the people who sold it were actually people who didn't know what NVIDIA was. As I call them, the NVIDIA. They're like the NVIDIA, like the hand cream. I got stopped this weekend at an Eagles game. A couple people said, so what do I do with NVIDIA? I said, I would just use it on my hands. I would not use it on my legs.
Like it's Nivea? Yeah. The old Nivea. Remember that
Much
stuff.
easier to make.
It is. I mean, really.
Yeah, they're not selling chips.
They got some.
But NVIDIA is selling them to basically everybody, including, of course, Elon Musk. In a podcast, our friend Brad Gerstner, my friend Brad Gerstner does.
Altimeter Capital?
Yeah, the BG2 podcast. He had Jensen Huang. That guy is everywhere.
He had the Renee Haas. He was on Renee Haas's podcast.
He was on Renee Haas's podcast.
Was he on your podcast?
Well, but this got some headlines because he talked about Musk. And remember the money that XAI took in, some $6 billion, I think it was, something like that. Right. I got to go back in my notes, but for his XAI effort. And then he immediately went to building a data center in Tennessee. I mean, take a listen. Jensen's like, he got that thing up in 19 days.
Why don't we listen to this?
Take a listen.
Building a massive factory, liquid cooled, energized, permitted, in the short time that was done. I mean, that is like superhuman.
Right.
Yeah. And as far as I know, there's only one person in the world who could do that. Right. You know, I mean, Elon is singular in this understanding of engineering and construction and large systems and marshaling resources.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Interesting comments about Mr. Musk.
Well,
there's so many podcasts, and they also are video podcasts.
Well, Renee Haas, this.
What are we? Are we kind of like a video podcast?
Well, we need the mics.
We need the mics.
Yeah. Well, and Renee Haas, the CEO of ARM Holdings, came visited him for TechCon. Heard it's only 20 minutes. It's worth listening to.
I would definitely got to. Renee has his podcast as well. Yeah,
and Renee's got a series of people coming up who are terrific. But I will say that.
By the way, that's a nice move there.
Oh no, that's a real company doing some really amazing things. Especially, obviously Oh, yeah.
Was that just the other day? Was that yesterday?
Yesterday. Yeah.
With Renee.
Really?
Congratulations, by the way.
He's a Raider
Nice
fan.
to have AJ and Devontae back.
Yeah, it's very good, and we've got a coach that the whole stadium loves, and he speaks to the fans, and it's really the city of brotherly hate again. Always love that brotherly hate stuff. But Renee, that's worth listening to, and again, you'll come back and you'll say, Jensen's so far ahead of us. It's very difficult to be even on his plane. I'm not on his plane, and I'm not talking about.
You mean the plane, not the plane. The plane.
Yeah, the Spain plane.
Right.
Not the rain plane.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Mainly on the plane.
Yeah, that plane.
Not the plane.
Let's get out of here.
NVIDIA's story is one of resilience, opportunity, and, above all, growth. With its stock riding high on the AI revolution wave, the company stands poised to maintain its pioneering status. The firm has showcased an ability to innovate and adapt, integrating powerful AI solutions and expanding its reach into diverse sectors like automotive. Going forward, the technical indicators, bustling with bullish vigor, hint at potential sustained growth reminiscent of tech sector success stories we've seen before. For those intrigued by what NVIDIA brings to the table, it seems that investing in its stock isn't merely a bet on advancements in AI, in computational power, but a stake in a transformative era. Gene Munster's belief in NVIDIA's potential for a multi-year bull run aligns with forecasts, underscoring that now indeed appears to be an opportune time to jump aboard. But as with any investment, especially in the tech domain, the usual caveats apply. Developments in AI, competition, and global market dynamics have a role in shaping NVIDIA's path. However, NVIDIA's trailblazing journey affords a ringside seat to evolution in action. So, what do you think about NVIDIA's stock? Is your portfolio steering toward the AI horizon, or are you waiting out for a different tech adventure? Share your thoughts. And finally, if you would like to know what companies like NVIDIA have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.